Hello and welcome to this week's Wednesday waffle. Not a lot of waffle in this week. I kind of changed what I was going to talk about, but at the end of the day it is the same thing, so here we go. So I'm going to talk about what we've been up to, any news, the upcoming videos, and of course the waffle. And we've been away for a longer Donder. We've been away for 10 nights and had a great time, sort of, maybe. No, we did. A few little problems along the way, but we stopped the first night in Newtonmore. Well, not Newtonmore itself. It's at the back of Newtonmore, up into the hills a little way, but it's a lovely little spot. Great for longer than an overnight, in fact, but we use it as an overnight stop because it's handy for breakfast the next day. Killin, where we found a castle. Tarbet, where we didn't. Jubilee Point, that Tarbet's the one at Araka, by the way, because in between Tarbet and Jubilee Point we went to visit Lindsay's aunt and cousin and had a lovely lunch with them to celebrate Lindsay's birthday. Jubilee Point, which we previously called Rubber Cross, it's just the way it's in the Gaelic, and yeah, okay. It's a lovely spot on Loch Eich, although the car park was a bit smaller than we remembered. We were at Crinnan, at the canal there, but not at the usual spot. You'll see from the photos and the videos. Nether Largie Stones, Inchree Falls, Glen and StrathDearn on the way back. All lovely spots. Nether Largie we've been before, Glen we've been before, but the other places are by and large new spots. We did an awful lot of new spots this trip. Problems we had? Well, we'll cover the problems a bit more in the waffle. We found we've got a leak in the pump, the main pump on the water system. Serves obviously for the hot water and the drinking water and the heating. And it developed a leak. Not round the join, the seal, but in the casing itself. A new one's on order, and I could well be fixing that as you watch this. That's if it turns up, of course. Yeah, although this isn't to do with the waffle, but it is to do with Scotland. One of the major, or big, or whatever you want to call it, leisure parts supplier downright refused to deliver up here. We do not deliver to Moray. Now, I don't know what the problem with Moray is. It's on the mainland of Scotland, so the post delivers to it as anywhere else. The post from here to wherever Jackson Leisures are is the same as from wherever Jackson Leisure is to anywhere else in the UK. But they refuse to do it. So from now on, I refuse to buy parts from them. Full stop. No option of pay a fiver more and you'll get it. Nothing. Just won't send it. The company that I am getting it from is actually further south than Jackson Leisure, and when there was a problem, because they've made a mistake on the website in that they were away all last week, so when I ordered online I should have been told it wouldn't come until this week. When there was a problem, not only did they upgrade it from the service that was coming, which wasn't next day, they upgraded free for next day delivery. I'll be going back to them for my parts, thank you. And Jackson Leisure, you can go whistle. I bought from you direct, I bought from you online. I won't be buying again. Just nothing to do with it anymore. Right. Part 1 waffle. I actually wasn't going to say that, but it's getting to me every time I think about it. Why the hell, just because we're on an, you know, in not even the far north of Scotland, we're on the main road between Aberdeen and Inverness, and one of the delivery companies that he could have used it delivers to Inverness and then it goes to Aberdeen depot before being delivered back to me. Well, with a bit of thought from both companies involved, they'd solve a problem there. Anyway, no, I'm going to go off on that one and forget to tell you anything else. But yeah, we had a problem with the pump. We have an ongoing problem, which Desmond has to go into the garage to be fixed with the onboard heating for the cab, and there was something else, but bits and pieces, just things that need fixing, and it's a 16-year-old motorhome. Nothing great, nothing unexpected. Everything's working, bar the pump's got a bit of a leak in it, and that'll be resolved very, very shortly. Anyway, Friday. This is videos, sorry. Friday. After the Earth moved. Well, I don't know if anybody will watch that one because nobody's watching the one that went out yesterday, or the day before yesterday in this case. But next week, Monday, we've got TOMINTOUL tractors. Wednesday, some waffle. And Friday, this does my head in. Because something does my head in. Maybe it's not what you think it is. But that's videos from my time and Lindsay arriving later time at TOMINTOUL. So that's the videos. Now, please go back to Spain. If the one thing that I had a problem with while I was away was people who are not usually in Scotland at this time of year for the holidays. It was busy. We perhaps made a mistake in one or two of our choice of locations, but you begin to understand the things that people talk about in social media that they see. Now, I don't mind where grey water goes, to be honest, as long as it's not over a car park. Dump it in a hedgerow. In fact, we watched one gentleman do just that. He took it out a bucket at a time and dumped it in a hedgerow. We prefer to dump it in a drain, but if that's all that's available, it's what we'll do. We'll run a hose out and dump it in a hedgerow. There's nothing, absolutely nothing in grey water that you see people washing their cars, and indeed a lot of people grey water are probably using low phosphate detergents, etc. Whereas the man using his car, cleaning his car, probably doesn't give a thought to low detergent stuff. It just wants to get his car clean. So we saw people do it properly, and I had to explain to that same gentleman that the thing running down from underneath mine was fresh water. We had a slight leak in the pump. So, but what else did we see? Well, we saw everything in between. There was one guy literally just parked up with his drain tap facing down the slope of the car park and opened up. There was another one just along from us, did something similar. There was others who didn't even have their drain tap shut. Every time they put water in the sinks or the shower, it came out across the car park. Whether that's people who haven't motorhome before or what, I don't know. But it shouldn't be done. Not across a car park. As I've said, we saw other things. Black tanks being, toilet sets being dumped in places they shouldn't have been. Yeah, it was just, there was some sights to see. So I hope those that are new to motorhoming can be converted, do change their ways, and I've just remembered something. Oh, I nearly forgot this one. We are in a Facebook group, Motorhomes and Camper Fans Against Litter, and at one point we were parked next to somebody who was wild camping against waste. I don't know, I've just recently joined that group to have a look, but there doesn't seem to be any rules and regs about this kind of thing, but I count grey water as waste. Yeah, that's another one who was, in fact this one didn't even have his waste closed, it just drained straight out. Not even into a bucket or whatever for later dumping in a thing, straight out, across a car park. Not, stones and grass bit, wild park up. This was at Tarbet, and parked on a proper car park that during the day had been full of kids running about, people playing ball, etc, etc. And it only quietened down later in the evening. And it's a shame that Tarbet has to be singled out, because it was probably one of the worst spots we saw it happening, and they are trying to set up as a air de service. And yeah, in fact that's another subject, but the difference between air de service and air de camping could be explained to some of the local councils up here, but that's a complete other topic. And before I finish, I've got one more topic. Another reason for please come back to Spain. This was a Volvo estate which had done the heinous crime of overtaking a whole line of cars as it approached the end of a dual carriageway. Unfortunately for the Volvo estate, it was coming up a hill and round a corner, so he couldn't see that we had turned out of a side road, across one carriageway, and then across and round to point the direction of the dual carriageway at 150-200 yards to its end. He then proceeded to brake hard and toot his horn and shake fists, etc. Now I'm trying to work out why, because he wasn't in sight when we pulled across out of the junction. He wasn't in sight when we reached the midpoint. By the time he was in sight, we were levelled up, and I was watching the string of cars he'd passed, etc., and him. Not watching, but I was aware of their presence, in the mirrors when this happened. Don't know what was in his brain, etc, etc. Indeed, because he'd braked so hard and smoky tyres and all the rest of it, and I hadn't gotten, started to speed up fully. I was only doing about 35-40 miles an hour at this point. The guy in the lane of cars behind me was pulling up as well, catching up, and he shrugged his shoulders at him. So there's another one. I'd like to go back to Spain or wherever it is you normally have your holidays. It's the Volvo must have been doing about, let's just say 80 plus and be kind. He was doing a lot more than that. And he had no need to do what he did, whether he didn't even know he was at the end of the dual carriageway, because it was just in front of us then. I don't know, but I do know that piece of road. It's the slot for anybody, and the junction is well signposted, etc. So yeah. But the main point for the go back to Spain is it sounds a little bit, I don't know, we're better than you kind of thing. But no, it sounds to, you know, either play the game, don't spoil it for others with your motorhomes, and quite happily come up to Scotland. But if you can't, and you're going to make a mess, go out to Spain. Anyway, enough from me. The usual bit of drone footage, and I'll try and behave till next week.
Thank you for watching Desmond's Donders. And remember, please take nothing but memories and leave nothing but tracks. Please subscribe and ring the bell for notifications, and hopefully we'll see you next time.